Hello guys, this is a comparison video of the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man Marvel Legends figure that came out this year versus a bunch of other Spider-Man figures slash Spider-Man characters that are my favorite in my collection, and how they scale and how they compare. So the one that we're focusing on is the guy in the middle here. I have my critiques of him, which will be talked about with each comparison. But yeah, let's begin. So here we have our first comparison. This is the 2008 Spectacular Spider-Man figure compared to the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man. Now, on first thing I want to mention is that the Spectacular Spider-Man show design of Spider-Man is probably one of my favorite designs of Spider-Man. This right here, this figure isn't an accurate portrayal of how he looked in the show itself. He was based off of concept art, so he isn't perfect, but he is close enough to me. So, in terms of aesthetics, I want to give it to the Spectacular Spider-Man figure, and that is just my own personal bias. Secondly, what I want to talk about is paint applications. Paint applications on this guy's a basic figure, is better, more consistent than an adult collectible, which is quite difficult to comprehend. Essentially, this guy has the privilege of having sculpted in webs, which makes it easier for you to paint it more clearly. As you can see, there has been some nicks and scratches on the blue part of it. It's some red peeking through. That's due to its age. But otherwise, paint apps are very consistent. The eyes are very consistently well painted. So if we could look closer, you could see it looks quite good. This guy, on the other hand, this guy has some pretty serious issues. Not serious per se, but first of all, one thing I wanted to mention is his head. If we could zoom in, as you can see on his head, you could see that it's been paint has been missed, and you can see that the spiderweb on his head is not consistently well painted or put on. As you can see, it's on the right side. It's the most obvious one. Eyes are quite good. Not much to complain there. Again, as you can see, the center of the circle of his mask is off center. That is that is not amazing, but again, I don't particularly care as much. What I do care about is chewing. This figure has an issue with chewing, which I'll get onto later, but as you can see, over there we got some chewing. Over here on the torso, we have some chewing, and this is basically a brand new figure, so that's not great. That is a design fault. For the other figure, chewing isn't much of an issue. He is quite well rounded off. So he is, as I said, I haven't had issues with him chewing. As I said, his age has made his paint chip some places, but again, that's not the company's fault at the time, Hasbro. That is just age. But as I said, it's kept quite consistently. And the price difference. So this guy is, even comparing how currencies change in value over the years and so on, this guy at the time was consistently cheaper than him. And I think the quality assurance wise, he is better. Now, articulation wise, he crushes this guy. I never think this guy was ever going to be, competitive in that field, but I think that this guy would be great. This guy could be my favorite Spider-Man, but only issue is he has no wrist swivel. So that limits him significantly. And also he has static hands, so you can only keep him in certain amount of poses. So yeah. Overall, I think this guy is a better figure due to articulation, uh, proportions, which I think is consistently better, but that's part of the art style for this one. Accuracy, because this guy is as I said, it's a concept art figure, so it's not completely accurate. So yeah, again, this guy wins this round in my opinion in terms of my favorite Spider-Man in my collection. So here we have the black suit Spider-Man figure, which came out in one of the retro waves, along with Shocker, Hammerhead, and I think a Ben Reilly Spider-Man. But so this guy, this body mold, is based off the retro Spider-Man figure. Now, in terms of proportions and height, I believe this new body mold, the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, is better, more consistent, and it looks nicer to look at. His legs, I don't know if they're warped. They probably are warped, but they look so dangly and just off-putting. His shoulders look a bit weird. As again, it looks good because it's black, so it's a bit more difficult to tell. But this guy has really nice shoulders. Very nice general proportions. His legs look a little dangly, but not to this extent. And also, you could see that in terms of muscles, one is a bit more showing of it. This guy does have some, how he has like a subtle six pack or whatever. He has some lines there here and there to show his proportions, but this other guy, he's like beefed. He's jacked, if you could say so. I think they went a bit overextended on this sculpt, and personally, I like it, but it's just a bit too gougy. It's too sharp for me. That's my opinion on it. Now, in terms of articulation, I think this guy is actually superior. His torso is better, which I'll show off now. Actually, looking at it, I think it's not that clear. So this guy may have a better torso than this guy, but one thing that I absolutely prefer is it feels smoother to use. This one feels harder to push on for you to get it in the position you want it to. This feels much smoother. And another thing that it is improvement is this. The top joint is so much more flexible and posable. And maybe that's why it makes me think that this one's better. It isn't. It isn't clearly, as you can see. This part here, this is the part that matters most. This doesn't bend as far as this does. However, this bending as far as it does have a sacrifice to it. And that sacrifice is chewing. And with the more you use it, the worse it will get eventually. So if I could just focus on it. There we go. So you can see the chewing. You can see it on his waist there. You can see it on the side of his torso. Here you can see it more clearly. And I just think that chewing is just a sign of poor design. I think they could have done something to prevent it, because it limits you. It tells you basically don't mess with it too much, otherwise you will eventually just wreck your figure. And that isn't amazing. Another thing is his shoulders. So not his shoulders particularly, but his arm here. Him lifting his arm, right, it can lift that far, right, which is not bad, but it causes chewing, if you can see it again, and that's going to get worse over time. You can see that on the corner there. So chewing, that is a big reason why, even if this guy did have better articulation, this guy would still be better, because this guy, I trust that he would not collapse on me, and that he would be consistently not wrecked. In terms of, I look at his arms, and his arms are not indented by me moving him around and using him for the purpose that he's supposed to be used for. So yeah, This guy wins the articulation round, but uh, it's difficult. So my main issue with the black suit Spider-Man here is and not the black suit Spider-Man, because obviously they're two different designs, so I'm gonna keep them anyway because they're two different things. But he's too tall. He's way too tall. This guy this obviously Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man is supposed to be a teenager, so it's obviously supposed to be shorter. But this guy, he still is more consistent. This guy is he's just too tall. He's just a little bit too tall here. So let's get him next to a Venom, which I'll talk about later on more about. So here next to this Venom. Venom is obviously quite big, right, in comparison to him, but I personally prefer my size difference to be a bit more, what's the word? A bit more like a thing that gives them uniqueness in between them. Like Venom being more recognizably taller just appeals to me more. And this guy, well, this other Spider-Man, he does that for me. He's quite shorter compared to Venom, and it just makes it to me more competitive in terms of I don't know. It's just he seems like a tougher foe for Spider-Man if Venom is bigger, and this Venom, he's large, but there are larger Venoms, so that's all I'm saying. So yeah, as I said, I think this guy is better, and this guy is my definitive Spider-Man body mold. I think they should stay to this, but I think they need to have some engineering changes because chewing is not good. Chewing should not be occurring on a Spider-Man figure. Last Spider-Man comparison is what was my favorite Spider-Man till now was the Ultimate Spider-Man. So the difference here between these two is obviously they're two different things. This guy's Ultimate Comic Spider-Man. Well, this is a repaint of that Ultimate Spider-Man figure, but came in the two-pack with the Ultimate Vulture. But this guy's supposed to be the Ultimate Spider-Man from the animated series. Which, I mean, it doesn't really matter that much to me. I mean, sure, I like the red band being here, but if it has pins, which this guy has no pins, that gives it a great advantage because you don't have the red peeking through at the corners. This guy doesn't have that issue because on both sides it's blue. So, as I said, that's fine with me. I don't particularly care that much. Another thing I did is, obviously, I've painted the eyes silver. I think it just sticks out more. I'm not doing that for the Amazing Fantasy figure. I think the white eyes suit him more, so I'm not going to do that. But, yeah, so in terms of these two guys, this guy has a chewing problem. It's not as significant, but it's still there. And again, not big fan of chewing. His legs. His biggest issue is his feet. His feet can't be raised too much. This guy has much more headroom. This guy is literally standing, and I can't move his feet any further up than that. So that isn't amazing per se. Another thing is the red. So the red differences, I think I can tell that there's different shades of red on this guy, but it's not noticeable and it doesn't make me care. But this guy clearly has a darker torso compared to his arms, head, and legs. And again, it doesn't irk me that much, but it does make it worse for me. And also over time, paint wise, he's been like his arms here, they've been some red has been coming through, and I've had this guy for maybe 2 years, and so that isn't great, but what can I do? So I don't know. So again, personally, this is my favorite guy, but this is my favorite design of him, the big eyes and all of that. I don't know. But yeah, one thing I have to mention is the logo. The logo is gigantic on this guy. I mean, wow, look at that big logo. That is massive. I don't think it's supposed to be that big. Also, at the back of the figure, he's supposed to have a blue logo, as is the Amazing Fantasy, but he has a red one. I mean, I don't care particularly. That's fine with me. But yeah, great. Yeah, this guy, standing wise, he's very difficult. But yeah. Oh, so yeah. Again, this guy wins. Finally, I wanted to put this guy next to my favorite Venom. So this Venom figure is from, I believe, 2007 or 8. This is a Hasbro figure, but the body mold is a Toy Biz Spider-Man Classics Venom. He has no head articulation due to this very silly gimmick, which I will show you now. The back of the figure, there's this button, and what this button does is this. You ready? Can you see the jaw moving the slightest amount? Yep. You sacrifice such a great sculpt for a stupid gimmick that doesn't even work properly. And it's not due to age, it's always been this bad. But otherwise, this Venom is my favorite design of Venom. It's supposed to be McGargan Venom, for I understand, but I don't think there's much references of him looking like this in the comics. But what it reminds me of more is it reminds me of Web of Shadows Venom. And Web of Shadows Venom is my favorite design of Venom. I love the legs and how they sprout all around the figure. I like the blue shading in there. I like the articulation. It's not amazing. And there are more articulated Venoms. Like the movie Venom may be probably better than this, but this for me is just better. Look at that jaw. That jaw is disgusting but beautiful. Those eyes and the paint. It looks nice, and those fit in the finger articulation. It just puts it on another level for me. So yeah, in terms of enjoyability, I just absolutely love this Venom, and I love how well he stands here next to this Spider-Man. I want to talk about the accessories that he comes with. So first of all, this head, right? This this head which comes with the retro Spider-Man figure. Well, essentially, this guy I got secondhand from a eBay seller, and I got it for a very good price. Nowhere near £30, which was just amazing. And again, £30 for Marvel Legends. That is probably why I'm probably done collecting Marvel Legends. The only reason I'd ever get one is if I find one for a reasonable price. This guy I got for 23, but I used my Nectar points, so but essentially 23, significantly more reasonable for this guy, but not 30. 30, no way. This is a scam for 30. It's not worth £30. Absolutely not. One thing that I do think is great is that when I got him, he doesn't come with the web wings, right? Which, I mean, I don't care about because they're meh. I'm pretty sure the guy probably got this guy for the web wings to give him to the animated Spider-Man figure, because he came in the animated Spider-Man figure box, the retro one that recently came out. So yeah, but point is, he gave me this head sculpt. And this head sculpt, as I say, comes with the retro Spider-Man figure from the retro Spider-Man body, and it just suits this guy so well. The reds match very well. I love the head sculpt itself, and it makes the figure so much better when I use it for photos and stuff. It's just great, and it comes with all your hands you want, you know. So yeah, one thing I wanted to mention is this guy. This guy can't raise his head that high. This is the most he can raise it. And this guy, meanwhile, he can go much higher, and that's because of the neck joint it uses compared to ball joint, which I don't think Hasbro are amazing with these ball joints yet. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope it was informative, but I just wanted to do it for fun. I wanted to compare the different Spider-Mans I've had over the years. So yeah, that's it, guys. See ya.